Welcome back. We're here to preview Sunday's midday kick-off in the Premier League between Burnley and West Brom. Now, we'll start with the visitors. Obviously, this is a big game, but last week they suffered a 3-0 defeat at home.
Yeah, it was Paul. It was the first loss under Pulis, wasn't it, since he came in? And obviously Spurs at home's a tough game. Spurs have been decent on the road this season. I think 3-0 was slightly harsh, wasn't it? I think Spurs went 2-0 up, didn't they? And Pulis said after the game that when it was 2-0, they really needed to score. I think they hit the crossbar a couple of times, didn't they? Had a lot of chances, and Ishibi had a couple, and I think someone else hit the crossbar. And it's one of those where they had to get that third goal in the game, because when they didn't, Spurs are always comfortable. Spurs are so good counter-attacking team, and they got the third goal. And 3-0 is probably harsh, because 3-0 is one of those scorelines away from home where it's quite a sort of big, comprehensive scoreline, isn't it? But that wasn't really the case. But it's disappointing. But they have only lost once under Pulis. It's how they bounce back now, because they've got Pulis in, but they are still involved in the relegation fight. There's no doubt about that. They're so tight at the bottom, and how they bounce back will be the most important thing.
Yeah, obviously, since then it's been transfer deadline day, and I think that obviously the big one was Darren Fletcher coming in. It'd be interesting to see how much of an impact he does have. Obviously, the illness he had kept him out at United for a long time, and since then, he sort of faded out of the team, not been able to quite work his way back. But I think it's quite a shrewd move from Pulis. Obviously, Fletcher, very experienced player, and I think he should be able to help them. But apart from that, didn't do too well, did they? Obviously, Berahino, they have managed to keep him, but he's come out and said since the deadline that he does want to move on to bigger things. It'd be very surprising if he doesn't go in the summer. And obviously, they failed with a few other things. Obviously, they couldn't get the Dorrans and Olsen swap sorted. Carlton Cole was sort of maybe coming in at one point, and I think on the whole, Pulis, it wasn't the most successful deadline day, but Fletcher coming in, I think it could be a good move for them, and obviously offer them a different option in midfield as well.
I think they certainly need to improve their away form. I think only 1-2 from 11 on the road this season. They only scored 6 times, which I think only QPR have managed fewer on the road, which is quite a damning statistic. I think, and that's why the result against Spurs was so disappointing, because they lost 3-0 at home. Their away form, we think, trying to bounce back, but it has been really poor. It's been a bit of a struggle on the road, and you wonder why it's been the case, because they've got pace up front, and then they've got some strong. I think Lescott came in. Lescott struggled a bit, hasn't he? He's given away a couple of penalties, made a few mistakes, and you worry about the defence. Ben Foster as well probably should have done better for those couple of those Spurs goals at least. And so the Ericsson free kick was good, but maybe should have saved it. And that's been a bit of a problem. They've been making mistakes, individual mistakes, rather than. I don't think they're a bad team, but we need to cut out the individual mistakes, especially away from home, because if they don't start picking up points, then they're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, it's definitely a massive game at the bottom. If Burnley win this, they go above West Brom. They're in 17th and 15th at the moment, and I think for Burnley, they'll be looking to bounce back themselves, because they travelled to Sunderland last time. It was a 2-0 defeat. I think they might have fancied themselves there. Sunderland, quite out of form. I think Burnley might have gone there and thought, we've got a chance of getting a result here, because Sunderland at home, they've had some really good results, like the 0-0 draw against Chelsea, but a lot of the other times they've been disappointing at home, but they couldn't score there. Obviously, that's disappointing there, but I think the big news on transfer deadline day was that they didn't lose Danny Ings. There's a lot of teams interested in him. Even Real Sociedad from Spain, came in for him, but I think it's almost guaranteed that he will be leaving at the end of the season, whether that's to a club in England or abroad. I'd be surprised if he does go abroad. I think someone maybe like Spurs might snap him up, but to be able to keep him is huge. But obviously he couldn't score against Sunderland, and they need him to be back in among the goals again, because if they lose, say if the teams below them or win, they could fall to the bottom of the table. So it's a big game for them at home to one of their relegation rivals.
I don't think it was a surprise that Ings stayed, was it? I think they were talking about getting rid of him for 4 million or something, and obviously staying in the Premier League is worth 10 times that, 15 times that. So it was an easy decision, wasn't it, to keep him? I think he obviously will go at the end of the season. I don't think there's too much doubt about that. But to keep him to the end of the season, important. They really need him. I think their home form's been poor this season. I mean, won 3 times at home, and thinking for a team that's battling relegation, it needs to be strong at home, doesn't it? And you look at the next 2 games, and they go to United on Tuesday. I think they go to Chelsea next weekend. So with the greatest will in the world, they're probably going to lose both those games unless there's a big shock. And you look at this game, if they get beat here or they draw here, they probably will be bottom of the table, won't they? If they don't win this game and the next 2 games they lose, because teams around them are going to win. So it's a massive game for them, that's for certain.
Definitely a huge game at the bottom. What's your score prediction?
I can see Burnley nicking it. Yeah, I think West Brom will be keen to bounce back, but like I say, their away form's been really poor. Burnley are not great at home, but I think it'll be a tight game. I think Burnley will just nick it 1-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a Burnley win as well, but I'm going to predict a lot more goals. I'm going to go for 3-2 Burnley win. So I fancy Burnley to just nick this one. Thanks for watching.